So speaking of sports, are you sad? Are you sad?
I
Are you sad?
am
Are you
currently
distraught?
okay.
Did you
The
go kick the
saddest, you know what
dog?
the saddest part was? The saddest part of the Colorado Avalanche
Hey guys,
dropping out of the
Hello.
playoffs. The saddest part about it was today I had to take the incredibly cute little Colorado Avalanche neckerchief off my dog, and even he was like, "Oh,
You didn't have to.
that's my
Why
neckerchief."
did you have to?
True.
Because they're playing golf right now, and I have no interest in supporting that. All right, I have no interest in supporting them playing golf. All right, you win or you don't get my love. It's
Oh,
the
it's
exact
like-
same thing that we tell our children. Okay,
It's
you
just
win
like- yep.
or you don't get daddy's love.
just like parenting. That's
Just
how
like
that works.
Yep, 100%, man. Welcome to the Save vs. Poison podcast, the podcast dedicated to gaming, general geekery, and enduring sobriety in an ever maddening society. With your host, Will, and two guys that probably live under his stairs. If you're an addict, know an addict, or are just interested in exploring the outer mysteries of geekery, you're in the right place. Without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Really excited to be here. Really excited to have you here. Really excited to have both of my co-hosts here tonight. That's right. No more solo episode this week. No more just me and Tiki. No. The whole crew's back together. It took a monumental effort of scheduling and asking them if they could show up and them saying, yeah, absolutely, of course, no problem, this week to get them here. Just Herculean effort. Herculean, I say to you. My name is Will. I'm your host. As well as being a host, I am an alcoholic in recovery. Joining me tonight, he once paid a professional to hypnotize him into believing that donuts prevent cancer. He is still waiting for the New England Journal of Medicine to publish his seminal work, Crullers vs. Cancer, a delicious preventative. He's our friend Steve.
Crullers do not prevent cancer, but raised glaze do.
So what you're telling me is that
I was going to ask.
Like, crullers are disgusting.
I need it.
trash
I
people-
wanted the
trash
alliteration, you a-hole.
So,
That's all I wanted.
does you have to like eat them to help with cancer, or is it like you, or is it like that? You know, like when you're a kid, and you get that toy that you stack the rings from like largest to smallest. It's like one of those that you got to do.
Where?
You
What's
know
the
where
center
you want
post?
stacked, though.
On
What's
which
the center
part-
post, Tiki?
What do you think the center post is, William?
Yeah. It's just like when I
Doesn't
would wear
work
a
for women.
copper bracelet. Yeah, it's the same thing except for a donut on your dick. Come on. No. You eat the cruller. Steve eats the
No.
crullers. He says
No.
that they're disgusting.
Crullers are not good.
So you're
Actually,
telling me the,
crullers are fine. I love
the
all donuts,
hypnotization didn't take is what I'm hearing.
No.
No.
Raised glaze cures cancer.
Raised glazed cures
There's
cancer.
cancer.
But that's not, there's no alliteration there. I want the C
Don't
and the
care.
C. I want the both.
It's a superior donut.
Cures
All right,
cancer quickly.
Fine. All right. Well, you know what? He'll make a postscript to the study. All right.
Superior.
Also joining us tonight, following the 2-1 loss that knocked the Colorado Avalanche out of the playoffs last night, he also embarked upon a scientific study, a paper that he entitled "The Dump and Chase Shit Never Works. Why Won't You Idiots Listen to Me?" Was found in the garbage dump at home of the Avalanche Ball Arena. Welcome back to the show, guys. How's it going, Tiki?
Welcome. Hey, yeah. Well, you know that dump and chase shit never works.
That
so
dump and
it's-
chase shit never works.
Never works. No, it doesn't. So
Never works.
that's just all there is to it.
Proven last night. I feel like your well extensively cited report on this phenomena, the dump and chase never works. It really needs some more eyes on it.
You
I
got
think.
here you go. You got like a couple of forwards coming in, and he just kind of pushes it over the blue line down to the deep end of the zone,
Yep.
right to the defender, and then
Yep.
they just bring it right. Hey, what the fuck? That dump and chase shit never works.
I still was like one of my
This is all the
favorite
results
things
of
to hear you shouting drunkenly when we'd be in like the basement over a Fireball's place. Like I think I remember Russ like shouting, "Tiki, dump and chase," and you would like turn from like the opposite end of the room when you weren't paying attention to anything that was going on the television, and you would shout out, "It never works! It never works!" And then you'd go on like a 3-minute rant about how every single team in the league had it wrong. But
a 3-minute
we-
rant. That seems like a pretty short time for me. But yeah,
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm never really. I'm just not a fan of that strategy. It's like playing prevent defense in football and like only prevent defense.
Yeah.
I once watched when I was a kid. I remember watching the Houston Oilers up 33-0, lose a game like 38-33 or something like that. It was totally insane. It was like what? Because they just kept like their offense would just like basically like kind of dump it in and dump it in. Like they were doing like 3 and outs, trying to kill the clock.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's just there are certain strategies that don't work. Don't do them. Cut it out.
And a 2-1 loss last night against the Seattle Kraken. You know what? You know what broke my heart the most was, and I shouldn't have done this. This was my own stupid fault.
Losing to the Kraken.
Well, so losing to the Kraken wasn't great. But then going up on Twitter to see like what follow-up there was, that was a deep dark hole that I should not have gone on. Like
I don't use Twitter. So.
Well, as a part of the media management that I do for the podcast and the Twitch stream, it is my moral obligation to try to spread the news far and wide and far. But as with all forms of social media, you can't just dip a toe. You have to dump your whole body into it, hoping that it will not poison you. And of course, what did I see when I typed in Colorado Avalanche on Twitter? Nothing but a whole bunch of a lot of salty losers and a lot of I wouldn't call them gracious winners. Like I think the one artistic thing that I saw that really like kind of like hurt a little bit. Like it hurt my soul just a little tiny bit. There's a graphic, like a really, really well done sort of old timey graphic that you might see on a poster if it was placed in a like old English sailing tavern of like the Kraken's arms coming out of the water and then the Colorado Avalanche's logo split in two being held by it. And it was just like, oh, it's true. We did fail and we did collapse to injury. Oh, so yeah.
Well, these things happen.
These things do happen. And unfortunately, last year felt, when the Avs won the Stanley Cup, I don't know what it is about losing that feels so much worse than winning feels good sometimes. Like, I don't know what that like when we win, it just feels like the universe saying to us, yes, this was what was supposed to happen. And you're like, yes, we have won. Excellent. As it all went to plan. But the instant that I take a loss, I'm like, these motherfuckers, everybody's getting in my goddamn way. I could have been happy. I go on a little mini Bill Burr style rant whenever I lose. And I don't know what it is about like winning is just supposed to happen and losing feels like the universe has betrayed me.
I don't get that.
I know you don't get that. And I love that about you because it makes you literally the perfect person to play games against, because I never feel bad about winning and you never make me feel bad about losing. I get to do that to myself all by myself.
Yeah. Have you've thought about talking to somebody about this?
Yeah, I mean,
I have. You know what? We're living in an uncynical version of myself. Right? I'm trying to live in an uncynical version of myself. Yeah, I should talk to somebody about that. This is a negative emotion that I have and a negative perception of the world that I have. You're right. I should talk to somebody about it.
Now I got an image of you trying to do like, I don't know, squats or something, and you're like, oh, and I couldn't lift the whole fucking weight, and god damn it, and then the gym is like half burned down while you're walking out of there. Dripping in sweat, like, fuck you guys!
If it wasn't for the fact that the people that would die in that fire are mostly like octogenarians and toddlers, I may have already tried a few times by now.
That's the gym you go to?
I go to a community rec center, dude. It's all like, it's all moms. They're little babies, and then a whole bunch of like senior citizens just trying to stay active. That's what it is.
I'm not judging. Just, talk to somebody about your desire to burn that place down with all those people in it. That's just terrifying.
I love that we've gone all the way this far. But yes, I do often get frustrated at my bench press more than anything.
Yeah. Well, that's what every guy gets frustrated at that. And skip leg day.
I never skip leg
You
day.
gotta have like you gotta have good arms and good chest though.
Never skip leg day, bro. Never, ever, ever. I threw up 5x3 squats at 325 pounds today. So never skipping leg day. Always do legs.
You started that off differently than I thought it was going to go.
I
You
know.
said I threw up, and then you
Vomit.
paused, and I was like,
I threw up 3 colors, which means I'm going to get cancer.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys doing? Steve, you first.
I'm good. A little tired from the weekend. Busy friggin' weekend.
Would have been lovely to have seen you, but I understand that you're a busy, busy man. Like, it's funny. Like, I caught my wife, and I love my wife, but I caught my wife, and I'm going to throw her under the bus real quick. She was explaining to somebody else about you and I's friendship, and she was like, yeah, sometimes Steve can be a little bit flaky. And I was like, hey, no, that's not how that works. And she was like, oh, you're right. He has a lot of moving parts that often get in the way of him being able to do stuff. And I was like, yes, that's called being a fucking adult. Ha ha!
It truly is.
Yeah. So, like, I got your back against your worst enemy, a.k.a. my wife.
She's my worst enemy?
No.
It's like the time that a friend of mine read his horoscope and it said that we were mortal enemies.
Who did that? That's awesome.
It was Dondi. It was I don't know why we were looking up the Chinese zodiac, and I'm the sign of the dog, and I believe he's the sign of the dragon, and it said that we are mortal enemies, and it was just the language used, mortal.
That is so weird. Because I can see like a multicultural movie about like a Chinese dragon and like an American dog, like being best friends and going on capers. I like, am I the only one that would pay to see that movie?
Darkwing Duck style.
What kind
Seriously?
of dog? No, what kind of dog? That's the question.
That is a good question. I don't know. Probably a Labrador.
I'm not a Labrador. Labrador's the worst.
Labradors aren't Korean.
I didn't say Korean. I said
He brought
Chinese.
call back. Call back.
He did. He called it back. God.
Kimchi.
Please go back 5 episodes. 5 episodes they have to go back to get that fucking reference, Tiki.
Hey, the super fans understood it.
Yeah, all 3 of our super fans.
I'm sitting here surprised the whole time that Noah's like, let's see, Steve is Mexican. What kind of dog is associated with Mexico?
Steve is American.
Chupacabra.
Steve is American. That's not a dog.
Could be a dog. We don't know.
You don't know what it is.
Canis Chupacabras.
But now I've got like this. For me, I've got a movie now where there's a big, majestic, like red dragon, like 4-toed or 5-toed, depending on the imperial dynasty you're set with.
Sure.
That is like needs to like I don't know time travel or something like that, but needs better cultural assistance, and so picks up on the way a Mexican dog that's wearing a tiny sombrero that happens to be the mascot for Taco Bell that has been kicked out and is now down on his luck. And this is like a luck dragon or something. Like there's
Steve,
like a whole...
as a Korean, do you feel any of this is racist so far?
I mean, I'm all for it as a Korean.
Okay, as a Korean.
As a Mexican.
You go fuck yourself, Tiki.
It would be a really good buddy movie, okay?
Yeah, it would be a good buddy movie.
I mean, it would be a great buddy movie.
But yeah,
I'm not opposed to it.
But also a little racist.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I mean... Hard not to be.
Well, it's like you're like what dog could be more Mexican and American than the Taco Bell dog? Seriously, it's American food that's pretending to be Mexican, and that dog is the same way.
That dog is the same. You don't know that. That dog could be straight up Mexican.
Could be
you have
100%.
no proof that dog isn't Mexican.
That dog could be.
He's just looking for a better life. All right?
That's fair. No, that dog is definitely employed in America.
That dog is definitely dead by now.
Yeah, that dog, that commercial hasn't been a thing since like 2001. All right, it's been so long since that commercial existed.
I got that part too. What I'm getting at is where was I going with this?
Oh yeah.
Do you know how many Taco Bells there are in Mexico?
Is it 0?
It's
is it
0.
0?
It is actually 0. I don't know how to say it in Spanish.
I mean, I can't imagine that it would work.
Well, yeah, like apparently like they try to they rather like this is Mexican food, and the people there are like, no, it's not, and they're like, okay, it's like Tex-Mex, and they're like, what
Even
the hell is
that,
that?
even that,
Like
I'm not.
that's not true either. So there's been this whole cascade where now Taco Bell's latest efforts to get down into Mexico as a franchise has been to simply brand themselves as American food and trying to open up stores in
That
Mexico.
actually is that makes sense and probably might work. It's the same way that like McDonald's out in Samoa basically serve a burger with a pineapple on it,
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's marketed as an American burger.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's like you
you
got to
know,
blend a little bit of the local with a little bit of
Yeah,
the foreign
well,
in
yeah,
order to get a, get the
McDonald's
market right.
McDonald's everywhere you go, McDonald's actually does adjust their menu for the local culture.
Hmm.
I know that in England, Scotland, there was like really they have like special burgers, but they're like still equally bland as the rest of all English food.
I thought it was
Um,
just you were just gonna say it's just all sausage patties. That's it. Just
no,
sausage
no,
patties and
just
Yorkshire
sausage
puddings.
patties.
That's it.
It's
I
just like
enjoyed
what
that
in the
this
world?
started with your wife disliking
Yeah,
you,
I know.
but
We're gonna get back
Yeah,
to that
we're gonna have
eventually,
to get
but
back. I don't know how you're planning on getting back to that now, but we're gonna have to get back to that.
ungracefully.
Perfect.
ungracefully.
Ungracefully. That's how I'm gonna get back to it. So, anyways, my wife hates Steve. Ha ha.
Well, yeah, and then in
Smooth
Russia it was
segue.
like Russia was like steamed cabbage on a burger.
What?
It was really terrible.
What? No.
Russia. I've been
No.
to
I
Russia. I've
can't
also been
believe
to,
that
and I've been
exists.
to, and I've been to Australia where they don't have Burger King. They have something else called Hungry Jack. It's basically Burger King,
Uh huh.
but called Hungry Jack.
I mean,
Everything is the exact same.
that's of the fast food burgers, of the fast food like massive chains. Burger King's got my favorite. The Whopper's still a good burger.
Carl's Jr.
I haven't had enough exposure to Carl's Jr. because there isn't one close enough to
There's
me.
not one convenient. It's
There
true. There
are.
used to be
it's
one
like up
convenient
north.
to me, but it's
It's like
gone.
north of like
Yeah.
52.
You
Like
can
it's
get a
way up
burger
north.
that tastes good and gives you terrible indigestion. It
Ooh.
is so yeah. You can get one that just gives you terrible indigestion, but you can probably find one that does both.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's pretty much that's the sweet spot, really.
I mean, that's all I've ever wanted. Really.
Yeah. You're like, look at all this protein that I can just shoot out my backside. Like, yeah.
Right on in there. Just
Yep.
a
Gonna
retro
go
interogestion.
We're
okay,
going.
you got it.
We're jumping to poop now.
Yeah.
That's the next
So,
joke.
yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. No, sorry, baby.
All
I
right,
threw
no,
you
no,
under the bus.
talk to your wife.
Yeah.
It's okay. Talk
Just
about your wife.
just talking about a little tiny.
Well,
just a little
stop
tiny
talking
bit.
about poop and fast food.
Nobody brought it up except for
Yeah,
you,
nobody's
you
talking
fucking
about that,
Martian. You goddamn Neptunian.
Just because you had to bring up the fact that Steve is Korean and has to have a Korean dog. And
Once again, I wasn't the one that came up with that. You,
Okay.
who have never met him, made an
right,
assumption about
fine.
that poor gentleman.
I still think it'd be a really good Scooby Doo story now. All right, go on.
It wouldn't be bad. And I like that you put Scooby-Doo into an episode. That's good. I hope Hanna-Barbera doesn't fucking sue us for that. Okay. Goddamn. Tiki, how are you, other than being in rare form tonight?
Yeah. Well, I'm up here playing 4D chess, you know.
Yeah,
rocking
you
it.
are, buddy. Yeah. Everything good, though? Good weekend? Motorcycle ride?
Yeah, I took the bike out. I'll take it out tomorrow.
Nice.
Again, it was just the weekend was amazing.
Yeah,
and,
it was a good weekend.
I've got a lot of like I talked to my boss because I'm going into this training this week that for whatever reason starts on a Wednesday and runs all the way through the weekend. I was like, I'm gonna lose my weekend. He goes, oh, just take Monday, Tuesday off. Just have a
Nice.
4-day weekend before it going in. And I was like, oh,
That's
all right.
awesome.
So
That's cool.
yeah, I've been chilling out. Yeah, I've got like I said, I've been consistent with saying this. I have a pretty cool boss.
Yeah,
He's pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
So that's been about the extent of what I've been up to. I think things are, kind of coming up Millhouse right now.
Very cool, man. Glad to hear that. Yeah, finally getting house trained, huh? Fantastic. It's a toilet. It's very exciting. I'm stoked for you, buddy. No more having to go outside and use the tree.
Huh?
That'll-
Oh,
that'll be good.
I don't have to use. First of all, the tree has been taken out of the front little porch area of mine. Like the other two apartments next to me both have trees. Mine doesn't.
Does that lady still live across from you?
No. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, she does. And Okay, that's a really big callback. I was playing fetch with my dog today. Her dog came along that little privacy fence thing that she had set up, and I could
Uh-huh.
see her dog. Her dog's it's a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
And I
Oh.
was waving to her and I was talking to her, and then all of a sudden, like within a matter of I think like 30 seconds, I heard like a door open and I heard her yell, and her dog went running back inside.
Wow.
Like it's so bad that I can't even like say hi to her dog.
Damn.
Fuck you.
Like just dog
Yeah.
blocked. That
Yes.
makes me sad.
Yes, indeed.
Bet
Yes,
that dog was
indeed.
happy to get more
So
attention.
I'm well, yeah. Dog sits out front of her place all the time. Just
Yeah.
doesn't just sits in the sun. Just looks like she really wants to hang out and play. And my dog is semi-retarded that just wants to play with the ball. So just wants to play fetch.
Yep.
Anyway, that's yeah. She still lives there. I don't have to pee on the tree. I can pee on the fence. The problem I have found is if I am peeing out front or pooping out front, it throws my dog off, and then she wants to poop inside.
Right. I get
And
that.
I can't have. Yeah, we gotta have like First of all, she doesn't know how to use the toilet.
So far.
Right. Since I do, and I don't want to train her, I'm just gonna have to go inside
Sure.
from now on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Righteous. I like it. Well, good. I had a weekend. It was a very suburban weekend. We got some cleaning done. We've done a bunch of purging of the garage. It was nice to see that we just have a bunch of like stuff that we've accumulated, not garbage that we've accumulated. So that was really cool. We've got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be selling off. If you're listening to this, I know it's a sobriety podcast, but if you're listening to this and you're into beer making, I've got a whole kit that I'm willing to part with for about $300. I don't know if that's off-brand or not for this podcast, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. So you know where to reach us: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. Great stuff. Great. Oh, just a bargain for all of this wonderful beer making equipment. feel like that's me going to like a Meth Heads Anonymous and being like, listen, I've got these beakers and these Bunsen burners, and I'm wondering if anybody wants them because I got a whole bunch of them out in the car. So yeah, good game, go team. But just a kind of a standard suburban weekend. Nothing really terribly exciting. Was hoping to spend some time with our good friend of the show, Steve, but he's not flaky. He just has a lot of moving parts in his life, and unfortunately, weren't able to do that with him this weekend. But maybe sometime soon. Maybe sometime soon. Wouldn't that be lovely? Yeah. So yeah, that's about it. Speaking of things that are lovely, my name's Will. I'm an alcoholic.
My name's Tiki. I'm an alcoholic.
My name's Steve. I'm not an alcoholic. But it recently occurred to me that you don't put ketchup on very many sandwiches. And that seems odd.
Is it a versatile condiment?
I mean, that's the
Do
question.
you think
is
of it as a versatile condiment?
But you put it on a lot of things, right? You put it on like eggs. Some
Yeah.
people. I don't. Some people do.
I do. I like a ketchupy eggy.
Burgers
Depends on the
are the
egg,
closest
though.
sandwich you get.
Yeah.
Hot dog, if you want to call it a sandwich.
Some people do. Some people don't.
Some
What
people
about a
do.
hamburger? What about a hamburger?
Yeah, he said hamburger. He
I
said that
burger.
first. Yeah.
No, I wasn't listening. I was just thinking to myself.
Of course.
Trying
No, I
to
was thinking-
figure
I
out
was
what
thinking-
sandwiches have
no,
ketchup.
I was trying to figure out why you didn't go with kimchi on your burger, but I didn't want to
That's
say
not to say that I
anything.
wouldn't put kimchi on my burger.
Yeah.
It's just
Actually,
saying,
that's true.
ketchup.
Steve,
But yeah, but
regardless
ketchup-
of his ethnicity, would put kimchi
No,
on a
that's
burger.
a good
I
point.
think.
Well, I think that it depends
I would,
upon region,
actually.
though, right? You would have like in America, it's a mayonnaise range, semi-supreme.
On
is awful.
on sandwiches, yeah, it's like that, and man, I don't. That's a
Mustard?
really good question.
You put mustard on many different sandwiches.
Yeah, many sandwiches.
Yes, mustard
get
is a much more universal condiment.
But
which
not
is so
ketchup.
weird because it's such a like stronger, sharper flavor than ketchup is. Ketchup is kind of a sweet, approachable flavor.
Yeah,
Mustard
kids,
is-
right? Kids love ketchup on everything, but not sandwiches.
'cause
You
it's-
just don't do it.
Yeah,
Like a
American
bologna with
ketchup
ketchup
is-
sounds fucking vile.
that sounds awful, and I just threw up in two directions.
I
Ham,
don't know if it sounds vile.
ham and ketchup, terrible.
Oh, Black Forest
Yeah,
and
that
ketchup.
sounds bad.
That's not okay.
God.
I'm not. Corned
Well,
beef
grill-
and ketchup. Actually, corned beef and ketchup might work.
Grilled cheese.
Ugh. Well, no.
But in tomato soup,
Tomato
works.
soup. That's not ketchup though. It's not vinegary enough. Close though.
If you leave
Steve.
the ketchup in your mouth long enough, it warms up just like tomato soup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you poured in some water.
Yeah. The next time my wife sees me with like my head tilted back and my mouth closed, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm trying to heat up this goddamn tomato soup.
Making tomato soup.
Making tomato soup.
Just trying to make this tomato soup. Shut up,
Squirt it
woman.
into your mouth.
I'm just
Head
trying.
back. Making tomato soup.
Listen, somebody told me on a rainy day that a grilled cheese sandwich and some tomato soup was the way. Well, we ain't got tomato soup. What I got? Hands.
Yeah. You have to remember that, like it's ketchup is also like highly sweetened here in the States. It's
Yeah.
like a fuck ton of sugar.
Actually, the best ketchup because it's not highly sweetened is Sir Kensington's. Really good. Highly recommend.
Do you get that at Whole Foods?
I actually used to get it at Natural Grocers or whatever, but
Okay, Natural Grocers still has reasonable prices. Okay.
I don't think they have it anymore lately.
Well, it sounds pretty official. It sounds like somebody.
Yeah, I mean, Americans go nuts for anything that even sounds vaguely British. So yeah.
It's
true.
really good. It's
I don't know if you're
pretty much the only
falling,
ketchup that I'll eat.
I don't know if you're falling prey to that though, Steve. I don't know. You might be.
Possible.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, ketchup not on sandwiches.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, no, it's a good. To be honest,
good.
I've seen some TED Talks. That one actually ranks up there pretty high. I think that could be that could break into like the top 10 TED Talks of all time.
It definitely is rank. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's definitely rank. It smells bad. Eee. Okay. For my sobriety check-in this week, thank God we got through that psyop quickly. I don't have anything to report. I don't have anything at all to report as far as cravings or weird thoughts or desires to drink or anything like that. It's actually and I can't really remember the last time that I did in any super major way. I've had a couple of, hiccups and bumps in the road, but this last week has been, I don't know if it's just because it's been super suburban busy or because my oldest bonked his knee pretty freaking good. And actually we found out that he had an impact fracture. So he has been hobbling around on crutches the entire time. So I don't know if it's just that coupled with other random suburban shit. I don't know. I haven't had it cross my mind this week, which has been, that's been great for the most part, but it doesn't make for particularly great content on any of the media platforms that we throw ourselves up on, So yeah, I really don't have anything. Mental health is in a pretty good state, other than what we talked about earlier with me thinking that winning is a natural state of things and losing is where I want to start burning things down. Yeah. Other than that, I really don't have much. So Tiki, what do you got, bud?
Not much. I've haven't really had any problems with any temptations or even a desire to drink for the last 2 weeks. I do I do notice I notice all the time right now, and this is just an ongoing thing, and I always bring it up, but the amount that alcohol is portrayed in our society, either as advertisements or even when I watch if I watch a bad movie and or even a good movie. And you'll have a character that's their hands are shaking or they've gone through a really bad trauma, and someone's here, have some whiskey, and it's
yeah,
I don't know how that's supposed to help. I really think I'm going. I rack my brain in that one. I roll it around and I think, yeah, it's. We don't as a society. We don't do the same thing. We're you're oh man, you're having a hard time staying awake. Here, you need some meth. It's just not something we advertise.
I get it. I totally understand it. Here's the way that particular scene goes. There's the healthy way and there's the unhealthy way. The unhealthy way is, here, have a drink. The healthy way is, hey, would you like to sit down and talk for 45 minutes about what's bothering you right now? Because I think it's really important that you process these emotions in an emotionally honest, and healthy way. That doesn't get you to the next plot point in the movie, unfortunately, unless your movie is about the fact that they're dealing with their emotions in a healthy way, which I just don't see Avengers Endgame being, something that slides
Thanos,
right on into.
Yeah, someone wants to like pull Thanos aside and go, now explain to us again why it seems like you're taking all of this burden for the entire galaxy, the entire universe, on your shoulders. Like, it's your responsibility to wipe out half of life. Why is that?
How does that work there, buddy? Let's talk about your feeling. No, put your feet up on the couch. It's okay. It's okay.
Those giant fucking feet of yours.
Yeah.
How is this going? Do you think that wiping out half the universe is gonna make you feel better? Will you feel a sense of accomplishment? Yeah, I know.
Yes.
That's kind of how I think about it. Yeah.
Yes.
I just yes. Like that's where it comes. It always comes back to that in movies, and it's in every. It's almost in every medium that we
100%.
as a society worship at the altar of is, but it's always there. It's like oh, you had a it's almost like, oh my god, you just flipped your car and got a DUI. Yeah, I know, I'm totally freaking out. Here, you need some more whiskey.
Yeah, that's what you need. Emotional damage. Here, have whiskey. Okay.
That's like this thing that's been embedded in American society, like into our it's part of our id that we were like, you have an emotional trauma, you had a drink. I don't know. I don't know. When I think about that, I kind of go back to like, well, I can't imagine how my childhood was messed up. I just thinking
it's
about
funny.
my
All right.
parents
Okay.
constantly doing that. Yeah.
All right. So it's funny that you bring this up. I recently was made aware of a psilocybin study that's being done at the University of Colorado, where in a controlled setting with a clinician, you are given a small amount, like a microdose of psilocybin, and then like guided through this sort of therapeutic scenario. And it's supposed to be incredibly helpful for dealing with trauma from your past. So there is something to be said about medication, even medication that we don't typically think of as medication. Like, if I said magic mushrooms to people, most people just associate that with, the euphoric partial, slightly
Morrison,
hallucinogenic. Yeah.
Woodstock.
Yeah. They see those things. But if I said, oh yeah, it's going to help you process your trauma, the response that I would expect to get would be like, yeah, man, it's going to help you with your trauma. Not like, yes, actually in a clinical setting, blah, 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 blah. Like, so it's kind of interesting that we keep like it's like, are we just trying to find the right substance that allows us to do that? And we just keep fucking up by thinking that it's alcohol over and over and over again.
We're just a rotten species. Well, no, I mean, if to put it into perspective, like 2,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, alcohol is pretty much, it's what saved the world, because in order to make alcohol, you had to distill, or you had to boil the water, which got most of the contaminants out. You were better off in many parts of the world, and in many times the Bronze Age, Iron Age, Bronze Age, all the way forward, to drink beer or whiskey or wine. You were better off to drink something like that than you were to drink the actual water, because the water we had at our disposal was utter shit. It was filthy. It was contaminated. There's a story of the of several movies that took place when they were filmed filmed on the Congo in Africa, like The African Queen, where the cast, like a whole bunch of the cast, got sick, except for some of the main stars, like a Steve McQueen type guy and like a John Wayne, because they drank whiskey. They never touched the water. They just drank whiskey the whole time they were there.
Okay.
So the lesson is we have, through the process of experimentation, come back to, hey, this is something that has worked for us for a long time, and it has actually kept us from being wiped out as a species. We never really thought about mental health. We thought about physical health instead, and that's where we've kind of come to. And I think that's actually where we're finally getting to that point of a break. And I think it's just. Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's coming to a different sense of perception, I think.
Okay, so if I had to summarize that, you would say that alcohol had a very specific dietary utility before the advent of clean water sources and hygiene.
Yeah, you
But
could say it that way, yeah.
that as technology advanced, and currently we do not consider that beer and whiskey should be a part of our dietary needs, but instead function as a luxury item.
Yeah,
Would that be an accurate summation of what you said?
Exactly. We have
Okay.
modern plumbing, modern technology. You don't have to go out and like boil water and make beer
Right.
in order to prevent dysentery or cholera.
Right.
You can actually just like turn on your tap.
Yeah.
Because
right,
you've got like
right.
you've got a very good infrastructure
Right.
that's actually operating in favor of you. So, but yeah, it's to what you said. Yes, as a dietary need, as you could almost call it medicine, it was a better alternative than water was for a very long time. However, at this point, I don't think that it serves that same purpose.
Okay.
It serves a purpose of like a therapeutic kind of drug for a lot of people. And what you're talking about now is there is an actual therapeutic.
I'd say more of a mollifying effect than therapeutic. I mean, it doesn't actually help you. It's
a bad coping mechanism, but it's a coping mechanism. And to that point, I'm not advocating for people to go out and drink and do all of these, like use it in that fashion. I'm saying that's what our society, Americans in particular, have.
Okay. Gotcha. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we've adopted it that way. Or adapted it. I'd say we've adapted it to that.
Okay.
Where alcohol is this thing that solves problems. And they're like, it used to solve dysentery, now it'll solve bipolar. Like, it's like there's no like logic there, but that's somehow where America has kind of come to in terms of its balance on that one.
With your oh fuck, I lost the word. Anyways, example, that was the word I was looking for. How do you miss example? How do you lose that word, America? How do you do that?
Explain something.
The thing that explains something by putting it into real world context. An example.
Oh God, I love when you explain stuff.
Thank you. Is
there a joke you can explain later?
No, but I can give you an example.
We're caught in the loop.
It's happened. It's fucking happened. No, so with your example, I can understand what you're saying. It just like there was a little meandering there and trying to like codify it into something like quick and concise, because otherwise it just sounded like throughout all of time it's been a medication that has been great. And
it's for humans it was a way that it was literally the way that humans would, like, we as a species filtered water so that we could make it drinkable. It's just the reality. But that's because one of the steps is boiling water. It's like humans, for whatever reason, were like, all right, I boiled the water. What should I do now? Oh, I should probably add some more shit to it so it ferments and turns into alcohol.
Well, cool, it boiled and preserved. It also acted to preserve. Like if beer works, alcohol in beer works as a preservative. So do hops. Actually, hops is a preservative.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Is that. Like, for whatever reason, humanity was like, okay, step one, boil water.
Mm-hmm.
Could we just let this cool off and drink it? I mean, I guess we could, but who the fuck wants to do that? Let's make some booze. Like move forward from there.
Yeah, I would say the shine is off the apple, as it were.
Yep. Anyway, so it was a really long-winded way of saying the really simple thing that I was getting at.
That's okay. That's all right. Yeah. No, I got there. I'm there. Steve, did you get there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
Otherwise, well, I mean, come on. This is donuts cures cancer versus alcohol saves.
And he believes it. And he paid a hypnotist.
Yeah, that's true. We did go over that earlier.
Yeah, we went over that. I don't think you had to pay a hypnotist, did you, Steve?
Why wouldn't I?
You just believe it. Yeah. You just believe it. And I love that Tiki like threw in it's just like a ring toss thing where like you put a whole bunch of donuts on your penis and suddenly you cure your cancer. Like I love that you went to that. That's where you went. Like you were like, listen.
You said this is that one's on you.
Would you fucking old fashioned? Would you fucking old fashioned?
You said these are your words. You could use donuts to cure cancer. You didn't say eat or consume.
I wrote it down.
That's on you. That's on you.
No, I said donuts prevent cancer, not cure cancer. All
or
right.
whatever.
Mr.
Whatever.
Man.
Prevent, but
All
whatever.
right.
But you said, yeah, prevent. You didn't say how. You didn't say. You just said use.
All I
You
know
implied.
is
I
that
left it up.
donuts are delicious.
They are.
So regardless of their cancer
Cancer cure.
fighting abilities, I'm going to continue to eat them.
I just thought it was because you want to be able to eat donuts and not be judged for it. And if you can say, listen, these prevent cancer, you're in the clear. You're
I
basically in the
figured
clear.
out the way to not be judged for eating the donuts.
Just
You
don't
wait
give a
till there's
shit? Is
no,
that
you
it?
wait till there's a new set of people in the break room who didn't see you eat the last one.
Yeah, it's a good. You're just like poking your head. Nope, 3 people still in there.
No, same people. That's
Just
Diane
gonna wait
from
15
accounting.
minutes and they'll be back.
If anyone's
in the
gonna
old
know
one.
that I had a donut earlier, it's definitely Diane from accounting.
Yeah, fucking Diane. Why is it always women named Diane? I'm kidding. It's not always women named Diane. Sometimes it's dudes named Kevin.
Or Chad.
Sometimes. Or Chad. That's possible. Alrighty. Man, we went long on the ridiculousness tonight.
Yeah, you guys did.
But I'm good with it. Nice to have you guys back. Nice to laugh this much. Anytime I do a solo episode, every time I laugh this much during an episode, my wife comes down to check on me because she knows I'm recording alone. She's like, "What is so fucking funny?" Because I know it's not you. Yeah. So.
Do you often laugh this much without us?
Yes.
I have my doubts.
You didn't listen to the last episode, I guess. Did you, my co-host?
I don't listen to any of the episodes.
I know that.
I just fire. It's fire and forget for me, dude.
Yeah.
I can say what I want.
Speaking of firing and forgetting,
Perfectly blameless.
I don't really think about it ever again.
Yeah. Once I leave this chat, I will never think of you again until next time I'm in this chat.
Yeah.
So, tonight's topic of conversation that I wanted to bring up was something that we covered a little bit on the Twitch channel on Friday night, and I was happy to cover it because I thought it was interesting, and that's the concept of taking an active versus a passive role in your sobriety, in your recovery. I have this thought in my head that people who engage passively with their recovery, that is basically doing next to nothing to promote their own sense of well-being in recovery, are just future relapsers. And this is not always the case, as I constantly and consistently say about people in recovery. There is many ways to be in recovery as there are addicts in recovery. Every single person is an individual. We all have our own garden to tend. I say that a lot. That's one of my favorite sayings for this kind of stuff. But I do think that people that don't engage very, very specifically in ways that they can be mindful about their recovery are eventually doomed to relapse and slip back into their addictions. Now, what I'm talking about when I say something is active, when you are engaging actively in your recovery, is that you are doing specific things for your recovery. Specifically, things that you are able to be mindful about your sense of self and where you are in your recovery. This can be a whole bunch of different things. For a lot of people, this is going to meetings. This is going to AA meetings or secular AA meetings or moderation management meetings or any kind of mutual support group where you can go and for a period of time engage in your sobriety with other people, with a community of people that hopefully is amenable to you and your version of recovery, whether it be through the lens of faith, whether it be through the lens of something more secular, regardless of what that looks like, someplace that you go and engage in the thinking and ruminating on yourself in the space of recovery. And you do it with the intention of engaging meaningfully. For me, that means making a podcast and doing a Twitch stream. This is basically what I did because the areas around me that I tried to engage in the meetings, they didn't work for me. They were not celebratory. I want a celebratory method to engaging in my recovery. I want to be able to say to myself, listen, I'm not mourning for alcohol that I can't drink anymore, even though there are times when I would really love a drink. There's absolutely times when that happens. Luckily, like I said in the check-in, not this week. That's okay. But there are times when I'm like, listen, you know what? Oktoberfest beers are right around the corner this coming September. Man, those are delicious. I really wish that I could drink 12 of them. Of course I can't, and I'm not going to, but there that thought still persists. So I'm here doing the podcast, doing the Twitch streaming. All of these things are done very mindfully, and I do these instead of going to meetings. You have options. I have a friend of mine who's part of the Twitch community who absolutely loves playing disc golf. And one of the suggestions that I had for him was, why don't you see if there's anybody in your area who could possibly enjoy your disc golfing, but also have that time be a time when the two of you get together, compare notes on your recovery, talk about how you're doing, see about your mental health, and be a mutual support group in kind of an unconventional space. The origin of this podcast was actually me thinking to myself, you know what I really love doing? Board gaming and tabletop gaming. You know what would be a lot of fun? Meeting a bunch of like-minded people who all share the same interests, and then having maybe a 15 or 20-minute conversation at the beginning of each of these nights that was specific to sobriety. I think that would be really, really cool and really a lot of fun. Now, I couldn't find that, and I was less interested in going outside the house to generate that. So now we've got the Twitch stream, which we do basically that. We play video games with other people that are in recovery that I can then talk about recovery if that's something that feels natural and right. So engaging actively versus engaging passively. I don't think that you can wait for recovery to come to you. I think that you have to engage in it meaningfully on a day-to-day basis. That's what I got. Tiki, you like to ride your motorcycle. You do this podcast with us. I mean, that kind of fulfills those areas of your life with things that you A, enjoy doing, and B, keeps you mindful in your recovery. How do you feel about those two things being kind of the cornerstones of your active engagement?
Yeah. They're fine. They're good. I
Oh,
use
good.
my motor. I have other little things that I do. I keep myself busy with between work and video games and the motorcycle and some of the little things here and there. I I think that that's actually one of the more important things is keeping yourself busy. Boredom is just a key to relapse.
It
Um,
is the death of sobriety, yeah, or at least it can
yeah.
be, yeah, 100%.
You know, and just I don't know. It's like I said, and I've said this before. There's been certain things like I embrace the fact that I'm a little more boring than I used to be. I don't go out as much as I used to. I also have a lot more money than I used to on hand
Sure,
because I'm not spending it at the bar.
sure.
I use the motorcycle for my bit of zen, my bit of excitement, that little bit of danger that I really want to like have, like just tucked away somewhere.
Hmm.
Makes it that much more fun. Um, yeah, I mean it's whatever your niche or your thing is, find a way to make that something you can leverage that way. I open the podcast because I want to be able to have other people I can relate to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to be able to talk to somebody. None of my other friends are, you know, in recovery or even close to admitting it. So I have other friends who don't drink anymore, but they did so because they just decided they didn't want to. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it was a challenge for them. It wasn't like it was difficult. They just decided I don't want to do this anymore. And that's not the same level of relatability as actually having somebody who's gone through the same thing. And to
Hmm.
your point, if you're going to go out and do like disc golf and all that, man, that's good. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm getting at is uh, you can use that as your just it's therapy doesn't have to be working with a therapist all the time. Sometimes it's therapeutic just to have a sounding board for your ideas or emotions and what you're currently going through
Hmm.
and just putting it out there. And that can be huge. That can be really, really big.
Yeah.
So take that for what it is. I'm on my motorcycle. I talk to myself when I ride. I listen to heavy metal, and I just think, and I just ride, and I have a lot of fun. And otherwise, just this podcast, and then when I'm kind of nightly hanging out with Russ, our good friend Russ, gaming with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just having a good sounding board, having a good non-judgmental environment, whatever that looks like for you. And if it's somebody that can relate to your experiences, that's so much better.
Yeah,
That's
even better.
Yeah, that's it for me though.
Cheers. Right on. Steve, anything to share?
No,
Cool.
not really. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Hey, you're spearheading the next section of the show, but I feel like it's only manners for me to at least ask.
Yeah, I like the concept that you've created here. I like the idea of alternative ways to help keep yourself sober. Makes sense.
Cool. Thanks, man. So, that's all I got for tonight for the sobriety stuff. We've run quite a bit long, but luckily this last part is just going to be us going, "What the fuck?" Over and over and over again. So, Steve, why don't you shoot into this one, buddy? Because this is wacky. This is just absolutely
weird, right? It's a weird
weird
thing that happened.
Yes.
So, a couple weeks back now, I think, the company Wizards of the Coast accidentally sent several boxes or a box. That's a little unclear, at least as far as what I've read, or I just don't remember. Maybe it's more accurate, of an upcoming set of Magic the Gathering to a streamer, to a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
And he
No
opened them,
names,
of course.
No names.
No names?
No name. I don't have a name for the stream.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember what
I'm
the
not
streamer
sure of
was.
the name either. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
We did look it up. There's a cited
This is not hard
article on
information to come by.
Polygon. Yeah.
Like you can literally Google WotC Pinkertons and you'll get a ton of articles for this. So anyways, they mistakenly sent an upcoming set to this YouTuber, and he opened them, of course, like any naturally curious person would. Yeah, and because he's a content creator, he posted them.
Yep.
So Wizards of the Coast didn't like that, and then that's understandable too. It was mistakenly sent out. He wasn't supposed to have this early. They didn't want it out there. But what they chose to do was send an agent of the Pinkertons, the same Pinkertons who did all the wholesome union busting back in the 1920s, 30s, 50s.
Not the 40s.
Not the 40s specifically. No, probably the 40s. I don't know. I weirdly jumped there. I don't know why.
Yeah.
At any rate, it's so very strange that the Pinkertons still exist.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
weird, right? Did you know that? I didn't know that.
I did not know that they still existed. Two, the only place that I've ever heard outside of like historical context has been characters in popular media excoriating the Pinkertons as being absolute shitheels.
Yeah. I mean, and like by the accounts that have come forward, they intimidated him and his wife. His wife, I guess, felt rather afraid.
Showed up with big hunka chunka burly looking dudes.
Yeah, to get this stuff back. When, I mean, and I don't know. Some of the stories aren't exactly like, I don't know how much they tried to just, hey, can you give us the stuff back first? And he was like, no. Or if they just went straight to, let's send the guys who did the union busting to get our stuff back.
Seriously, like that. When you told me about this story, all I could think was, that's like Angela Merkel's sending the SS to get like back taxes from somebody. Like, that's horrible. It's awful. Like,
it's weird.
There's no part of the name Pinkerton that goes in any kind of context where you're like, oh, those awesome guys, right? Those awesome Pinkerton guys. I mean, Tiki, give us some historical context here, buddy.
Yeah. I was gonna say they got their union busting goes way, way, way back. But first and foremost, they're primarily known as the predecessor of the Secret Service. They were the bodyguards hired to protect Abraham Lincoln.
I'm going to interject just a second. I'm going to disagree that they are primarily known for that. I think they are primarily known for the union busting.
For being union busters, yeah.
I would actually argue that they're primarily known for not protecting Abraham Lincoln and letting his head get blown in half. But second would be union busting, yes. What I'm getting at with the Secret Service is that after the Pinkertons were like, oh, hey, yeah, shit, that didn't go as well as we planned, the government was like, you know what, we should probably have an agency that does this.
Instead of a private police firm.
Yeah, and the Pinkertons were a private police firm. They worked for the banks. I think like Wells Fargo at one point in time on the rail lines, securing money. They were. I guess that to a point they really weren't like these. You would say, were you police? Not exactly. Were they police force? Definitely not. Were they a little bit more like the mob in the way that they were hired and what their job was entailed, which was usually inflicting violence on people? Yeah, a bit more like that. 1892, I was actually just looking it up before this. The Homestead battle was a 12-hour battle. Pinkertons and their men who had Winchesters versus a bunch of Union or citizens who were coal miners attempting to unionize.
Yeah.
And then they had, and the fucked up thing is they've actually had like those kind of encounters, like the Homestead battles. Those have like not been entirely uncommon throughout the U.S. for a very long time.
Yeah. It's a what the fuck like why do you continue to call yourself Pinkertons? Change your goddamn name to Happy Rainbow Corporation. All right, like I don't understand. What the hell is going on here? Like, and to give a little bit more like fleshing out to the story, one, WotC has the right to pursue their intellectual property that was incorrectly released. Now, I don't know if they sent it out. What I saw is that it was sent out to a vendor, and the vendor accidentally sold it.
So I thought the version that I got is that it was sent to him, that he had purchased. I mean, I guess you're right. That is unclear. I don't know if it was the vendor.
Yeah, so that's what I saw from the Polygon article.
And then where the Pinkertons showed up with like a couple of burly dudes with no necks and like
intimidated them.
Give us the stuff.
Give us the stuff. There will be consequences that are, and I think that they framed it in terms of legal consequences. I don't think that there was an implicit force of threat. I didn't read anything about that. However, nobody sends a 5'4" dude named Mort.
Well, and what kind of gets me is that this somewhat comes on the heels of Wizards kind of mucking up the whole thing with the D&D, right?
Yeah, the open gaming license now being
that they had to reverse course on, because everyone was like, "Fuck you, we don't like that."
Yeah,
and so it just they seemed, and you kind of pointed out how they didn't exactly have all that much goodwill to begin with, but they seem intent on destroying any that they have.
It's just so boneheaded. Why? Like, I don't understand.
It's
hiring a firm that is known as being bad guys for corporations. Like,
even
my favorite line
went there with like completely just, hey, we need the stuff back, even if it was the most wholesome up and up version of how this could have went. Just the name Pinkerton makes you immediately think of.
Yep. They came with truncheons and Saturday Night Special revolvers. That's what like in bowler caps and with really slicked over.
That was the main thing I was thinking of, was the bowler caps.
That's all I can think right now. It's like a scene from fucking Peaky Blinders in my head right now. That's all I can think.
But, and you have to remember this, if you want to get your property back, and you're looking for someone effective to get that done, that's gonna cut corners. That's probably not gonna inform law enforcement at every step and make sure that they can get ahead of something. very quickly. The Pinkertons are, probably the people you want to get. Now, I mean, it's a bit mafioso. It's also like hiring the mob to do it, but
like. You do it with a lawyer. You send a cease and desist. You say, hey,
that doesn't. No, they wanted their property back immediately, which means
Yeah.
you having a lawyer send a letter. That's not going to work. You
that's
need
how
to send
everything
somebody
I've read,
who's
it
going to
sounds
send a
like.
message.
We wanted it now.
I mean, I can't.
No,
I don't
no.
think that I'm ever purchasing another Wizard of the Coast product ever again.
I'd love to tell you that I'm not.
I don't think I am. If you do, get it from a second fucking party.
Hey,
like, don't buy any new releases from
That's right,
directly
fund Walmart.
from, right?
I want to say that Blizzard hired the Pinkertons at one point as well.
Show me proof, and I'll
I just have to look it up on the internet.
fucking
I'm not gonna
figure it
show you
out.
proof. You
Like,
do that. I'm saying that I think that happened. I'm
mean,
just wondering how you're going to boycott an entire gaming company because of the fact that they hired some, thugs.
there's 1.5 million gaming companies in the world, dude. It's
There-
not
well,
that hard to
really?
find good
And,
games that have at least a slightly better, public
So,
image. I mean, Wizard of the
in
Coast is
that
a
vein-
shit
So is this-
company, in my
So
opinion.
is this an ethical problem that you have now?
It very well could be.
I mean, it feels like it's moving that way.
Okay,
And there are,
that's
to
fine.
your point, Will, there are, I mean, for instance, Disney is creating a game called Lorcana, which is very, very Magic the Gathering adjacent.
Mhm.
But from a lot of the stuff that I've been told, some of the articles that I've read, they're trying to do right by their customers already. I mean, even little things like printing premium foil cards on the non-curling cardstock.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
I guess they're also doing a thing where the product will be sold to local game stores before big box stores.
Nice.
Like they'll have it a good 2 weeks prior to
nice.
like
That's
Target
good.
and Walmart and stuff like that.
Huh.
So there are other companies that are trying to compete. We'll see. I mean, this game isn't out quite yet. It is due this year, I believe.
So I think that in the past we've kind of kicked that horse to death about if a company isn't ethical or isn't behaving in a way that is in line with your ethics or your morals. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm literally just kind of like poking fun at, hey, just because they went and hired a bunch of thugs to go do some dirty work.
I kind of figured that you weren't actually, but I can't see you lining up on the side of Pinkertons. I can't.
No, I can't.
I mean,
either.
hey guys, hear me out.
It's like, listen, you guys, I got a great job offer to do cybersecurity for a really well-known firm. You maybe have heard of them, the Pinkertons.
Well, that's the thing. They've got their hands into a lot of things, if I remember correctly. But and like for like cybersecurity, in my field, they're not. We don't know about them or anything like that because, well, in cybersecurity, there's like a code of ethics that we're bound by.
Yeah.
And I don't think they could actually follow it. Mostly because the first rule that we have is do no harm, and the second one is protect the Commonwealth.
Huh.
So,
That's interesting.
I don't think the Pinkertons could actually. Yeah.
That's interesting. By the way, if any of us dies on this podcast under mysterious circumstances in the next couple of months, years, I don't know how long their memory is, but they've been around for 173 years, I think.
Well, I'd just
have
like to
long
point out
memories.
that we're kind of late to this party of shaking our fist at the sky there.
They're just like, listen, we need to set an example, but it can't be too big an example.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
who talked about it last? Not first, last. I don't know. My favorite line ever about the Pinkertons. Have you guys? So the show Deadwood, I've talked about it a lot. One of my favorite characters from the show, Al Swearingen, who's a piece of shit in his own right, is like talking with one of the other characters, and he's like, I don't like the Pinkertons, and the other character goes, why? And he says, because they're muscle for the bosses. Like, and he uses the capital B bosses, and it's a great exchange about why he doesn't like the Pinkertons. It's a great show. It's a great show. David Milch was a fucking genius before Alzheimer's set in. I feel just terrible that that particular disease process afflicted him so badly. But yeah, great show. Yeah. So fucking weird, man. I just fucking weird.
So weird.
It's like somebody saying, "Hey, our ship got taken out by the Dutch East Indies Company." Like, what the How is antiquity now? How is that fucking happening? I don't
You're
understand.
you're sitting on Amtrak and you find out the Pinkertons are actually up there like checking tickets.
Yeah, checking tickets.
You see their badge, it says
uh,
Pinkerton. You're like, the fuck?
so the bulls are rousting all the hobos.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised. Honestly, like we use the police for a lot of that kind of muscle work these days, but I'm surprised the Pinkertons aren't the as a company with where their ethics kind of lie, that they aren't used to clear out homeless encampments,
I
things
mean,
like that.
I think that would be an absolute fucking political nightmare. The reason that we have state-sponsored police is so that there is recourse against that in terms of the political system by the body populace. I mean,
And in the 1920s, the 1930s, sorry, during the 30s, during the Great Depression, a large contingent of World War I veterans made their way to the Capitol. They camped out in front of it. They made a like kind of a cardboard city, so to speak, and they were run out by a combination of federal forces, federal police forces, and military grade people, including a cavalry charge that injured many of them. And that cavalry charge was led by General Patton. The man who oversaw the entire thing of clearing out that encampment was General MacArthur, and
Jesus
Eisenhower was
Christ.
on hand. Yeah, all those guys were there, and they all had a hand in like wiping out this large encampment of protesters.
What was that
So-
earlier? You saying something about humanity being fucking piece of shit?
Stupid.
Like,
Yeah,
what was
we
that?
suck. We suck.
Yeah, great.
What
great.
the point I'm making is that the political fallout, it might not be as great as you think, especially considering where we're at with our previous president. Anyway, ending on that note,
Well,
it's
you're thank you very
sad.
much for blackpilling me and making me very, very cynical when I'm trying to live through an uncynical arc of my life. No.
Hey.
I'm going to do something nice for somebody tomorrow. I'm going to do something nice for somebody tomorrow. All right. We're going to continue to focus on positive energy here on this podcast. God damn it.
I was going to say,
Are we going to hire the Pinkertons?
I can't. I hire the Pinkertons and make them give out food at like a food bank for a day.
You know,
No,
here's,
I don't know.
I feel like we should say this. Like, for all we know, the Pinkertons are a complete up and up company at this point.
Maybe.
You know, like, we don't really know. We weren't there.
I mean, maybe. It's still just so fucking weird, and I don't understand why you would continue with that name as
At very least, like,
as your
rebrand
company
guys.
name. Like, that is not.
Name recognition. Dude.
Yeah.
We're still talking about it.
Name, there it is.
And
Yeah.
so we put it out there right now, and I want to make
We
sure everybody
can't
else
change.
hears
This is how
I want
people know us.
everybody else knows this right up front. Will, your cynicism is not my responsibility.
I know.
I can't make you
I
feel
know.
that way. You have to accept
You
those
are
feelings.
absolutely correct, and I'm rejecting your framing and imposing my happy worldview
There you
on things. Thank God for the suburbs, everybody.
go. Mighty proud of you, buddy.
Thanks,
Mighty
brother.
proud.
Thanks. All right, I think that's going to be it for tonight. I've been playing lots of games. I've got an event coming up this coming Saturday at Hobbytown USA in Westminster. We're going to play some BattleTech Alpha Strike. I'm really looking forward to that. I've got some great models that I painted on the stream that I think I'm going to be taking at least a few of them with. I've been playing a lot of Warframe lately. Tiki's still balling all over Hunt Showdown, and I think that I'm going to try to convince Steve to download Warframe onto the PS5 if it's available for the PS5, because it is completely cross-play, and it is a really enjoyable, free-to-play looter shooter that everybody can get down on. Everybody can get down on. So yeah, cheers everybody. All right, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Save vs. Poison podcast. Like every episode of the show, though, we like to shout out to the mutual support groups that we hope you turn to in your time of need. There's Alcoholics Anonymous, tried and true. It's AA.org, 212-870-3400. Moderation Management, moderation.org, 212-871-0974. Secular AA, that's aasecular.org, 323-693-1633. Smart Recovery, smartrecovery.org, 440-951-5357. And Women for Sobriety, womenforsobriety.org, 215-536-8026 for friends and family of addicts that need a little help in a group-type environment. There's Al-Anon family groups at www.al-anon.alatine.org, and you can reach them at 1-888-425-2666. From all of us here at the Save vs. Poison podcast, I'm Will.
I'm Tiki.
I'm Steve.
And we wish you warm, creamy regards. Good night, everybody. You've just listened to another episode of the Save vs. Poison podcast. If you liked what you heard, please follow us, like, and subscribe on Twitter at @VS_save, on Facebook at the Save vs. Poison podcast, and streaming live on Twitch at twitch.tv/SVP podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, and stay safe, everyone.